Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining episode 2 of Connecting the Thoughts. I have with me Action Accelerator, Lubna, and she has got a lot to say in terms of commitment because recently I read a post of hers where she has completed a chapter in a book
Yeah.
for in 7 days.
In 7 days.
In 7 days, and then there's me who's been sitting on a book since a while now. So I said, no, this is the person I want to speak to about commitment. And even otherwise, the work she does is amazing. She's got a podcast. She is related with happiness. She's amazing, brilliant. So Lubna, tell us more about you, because what I say might just fall short.
Well, Ruqya, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. Always a pleasure to be invited to share my wisdom. And yes, well, I do a lot of things. That's one of the issues that other people have with me. They have absolutely no idea how to position me. But the grounded answer, I guess, that I could give you is that what I'm passionate about is supporting people in their personal and professional growth and actually getting them to take action. Because what I see or what I've experienced in my clients, there are two types. One that are taking action, doing activity, but not progressing. So at the end of the day or at the end of the week, look back and think, well, what have I actually achieved? Or they've got so many ideas, type number 2, so many ideas, they're thinking, but which one shall I start first? And I'm someone that as soon as I say yes, I get it done, no matter what. As long as I don't say yes, I don't do anything. But if I say yes or commit or make a public declaration, then that thing gets done.
I like that, public declarations. So I'm a little like you. So I think that's also why we resonate so strongly. So when I get an opportunity, I say yes to it, and then I learn along the process. So the simple thing, for example, doing a TEDx talk. If you want to see someone who has a great message but not so amazing oratory skills, that's the one I'd recommend. So it's like, just saying yes to something and then looking how far you can stretch and how further you can pull yourself and just grow outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
So when we chose commitment as a topic, tell us more about that.
Well, it reverts back to the two types. One of the reasons you're not taking action or you're taking too much action is because of commitment. And one of the things that I've found is, do you know what you really want? Because you can do a lot of things and there's a lot of advice, a lot of free information out there, and you can spend all days watching TED Talks, watching YouTube videos, watching webinars. I mean, there's more than enough. And what I see a lot of entrepreneurs who I serve do is that they jump from online course to webinar to YouTube. They keep adding more knowledge to their repertoire, or what I say, more information to their brain, instead of really thinking, but where am I at? What's my current situation and where do I want to go? What's my desired outcome? What's my desired future? But be very honest about where you are today, because where you are today might be you're not ready for a podcast or you're not ready for a book. That's not the step or phase you are on your journey. And instead of looking at everyone thinking, oh my God, but they've already got a book, and so I need one too. You'll probably spend a lot of time writing a book right now, but it's not where your energy's at. It's not where your commitment is really at. There's something else that needs to be done first before you can finish that. And I think that commitment combined with passion is what gets you to do things.
Absolutely. And what I say is people get into a lot of shelf development instead of self-development, because they're taking down notes, they're doing all of the work, they're listening to videos, reading books, attending courses, and then not putting it into action. And I guess that's where the gap happens also.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about knowing exactly where you are and then moving forward thereon. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And if
Thank
you don't, you're just going to follow someone else's interpretation of where you need to go. And that is, what's the word I want to use? That is, well, inviting frustration into your life.
Yep.
Because you're following someone else's dream instead of your own.
True, true. So how do you build on commitment? I love that laughter.
Oh, good question. I guess, well, one of the things that works for me, because that's all I can share, is that I've invested a lot of time, energy, attention, and money in my personal development. I've invested a lot in knowing who I am, what it matters to me, what my ambitions are, whether they're big or small. And because I know that, I can commit to doing something, or I can say yes to an opportunity faster because I know this is where I'm at and this is where I need to go, and I can do it. And I have all the faith in my abilities to get it done. So I would, and what I see people do and what I've experienced, both in corporate sector as well now as an entrepreneur, is a lot of people have absolutely no clue who they are, have no clue what matters to them, and just keep going through life, going through the motions, frustrated, fearful, in doubt, going through compare and despair syndrome because they see other people moving forward and thinking, oh no, or even worse, they see other people moving forward and they try to keep them. They try to pull them back and think, but you can't do that. And they either do that because they don't want to face the fact that they're not doing anything, or they're, and that triggers them, or they're thinking, you're showing what is possible, especially in a corporate world. If you're going forward and you're moving forward and you're getting success, other colleagues might be thinking, but that's not where we want to go because you're setting a standard that we do not want to live up to. So pull back. So yeah, I think that's it's important to know exactly who you are, know what matters to you, because that will keep you grounded no matter what happens to you, no matter the circumstances, no matter your jealous colleagues, no matter your boss who wants to try to push you in a different direction, no matter your family who might be thinking, what are you doing? Go find yourself a job. Entrepreneurship is nothing. Whatever it is that you get to hear on a day-to-day basis, if you're grounded, those things won't hit you as hard as they could
otherwise. Yes, I love the word grounded, and I respect people who have that ability to stay grounded no matter how high they're flying. So my next question to you is, we tend to grow in our journeys, right? Someone who might have been doing an office job now is getting into entrepreneurship and leadership, for that matter. What do you do with the stereotype that people have in their mind about that person? Because everybody comes with this image or this the way that people see them, right? So how do you break through that and then shine out as the new person that you're becoming? Because sometimes people just don't acknowledge who you're becoming, and that could hurt sometimes. Yes.
Yes. Well, I can guarantee you one thing. As soon as you step onto your growth journey, you will lose people. You will say goodbye to people because there will be people that don't relate to you anymore because you've becoming that new person. And the first thing that they will try to do is to pull you back into that identity that they know. That's the first reaction. And if you're not grounded and if you're not sure, you will get pulled back. That's exactly what happens. If you are, then the people will just leave your life. Now, there is a category of people that are very difficult to say goodbye to, and that is family. Yes. And whether that be your parents or your partner or your children, there's not a lot unless you really want to say goodbye to them, which I do not encourage you to do, is is to realize that either whether it's your parent, your partner, your children, is that they're saying those things because they love you, not because they don't want you to succeed or to grow or to step into your full potential. And every time they say that, know that they're coming from a place of love and that they want to protect you.
Yeah.
Again, have that conversation with them. I still have those conversations with my parents and my family, are thinking, but you're only behind that screen all day, and but where's the result? I mean, if you were in a job right now, you wouldn't be in trouble during this global pandemic. All of those things. And I know they're all from love. And I said, but I feel a calling to do this. This is one of those things that when I lie on my deathbed and look back, I do not want to say, what if? What if I had just jumped and tried it and experimented and see where it would take me? I don't want to end up in that situation. That drives me. And I feel the calling of having to do this. I feel that this is my path right now. And it might change in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 2 years, and I'll go back to a job or do something else. I don't know. But this is how I feel right now. And I think that if you're grounded in that, if you're grounded in yourself and feel comfortable in your own skin, and you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing right now, you can share that with them each and every time.
I think it's also about listening. So, because a lot of us have been so accustomed to listening to the others, listening to what your parents have to say for you, listening to what your teachers think about you, your friends, your siblings. Everybody else has an opinion in your life except your own. It's like when someone asks you, so what would you like me to do to help you? Or how can I support you?
Yeah.
You don't know the answer to give because you don't know what kind of support would help you the best,
Yeah.
It's sometimes you're just so used to listening to the others that you have forgotten how to listen to yourself and your calling.
Yeah, but I think one, you have to listen to yourself. And if you don't know, which I can totally understand, I didn't know 15 years ago where I was going. And I hated whenever people ask me, what's your 5-year plan? I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to do in 6 months, let alone in 5 years.
Right.
And I knew right then and there it wasn't for me, thinking about 5 years ahead, because I like so many things. I don't know where my journey will take me. So I can totally understand if you're watching this now or on the replay thinking, but I don't know what I want. And that is so normal. That is such a natural situation to be in, because we've been conditioned in the very first 7 to, well, maybe until you were 7 or 16, before you really had your own will. It was your parents. You modeled their behavior. It were your teachers in elementary school. You listened to them to tell you what you needed to do. So we're conditioned to listen to other people to tell us what we need to do. So it will take time to unlearn that and to really tap inside to find out, but what do I want? What is it that I want to do? And I'm reminded of, for example, my brother, who was told by my uncle in Morocco, oh, you are so good at drawing. And he really loved to draw. So you should be an architect. Constantly, every year we spent in Morocco, he would get, oh, you should really go study architect. You really should go and become an architect. He did. When he finished high school, he went to study construction. He hated it. He hated it. And he is intelligent enough to go through all of the courses, go through, and he's faster than I am in learning. But he hated every second of it. So he didn't finish. He finished the first year, didn't get the result, stopped, thought about, but what do I want to do?
Good.
And went into IT.
Super. I mean, he was wise enough to stop, take a pause, listen, understand, realign, and then move forward.
Well, he was forced because he didn't get the result. Here in the Netherlands university, if you don't get your result in the very first year, you can you would get another couple of months to finish the courses you need to finish that very first year. But if you don't, they'll just tell you need to stop. We're going to say goodbye to you. And he really needed to get through that experience to find out I've been told what to do instead of me deciding what I need to do. And that happens to each and every one of us. I mean, he was 18 when he made that decision, but it was based on what other people were telling him, based on the talent, drawing. They interpreted, you should become an architect, but he could use drawing in many ways. And he needed, and I remember now really vividly, and he needed to stop. So he stopped, went into, did another year because he thought he made a decision to do a certain study, which I don't remember exactly what it was. No, it was IT. Did another year. Found out after that year that going through school is not his thing. That's not how he learns the best. So he stopped on the second year, went for work, and through work got his diploma. Okay. And that's a type of journey that each and every one of us goes through. Not everyone is born with, that's exactly what I want to become. So it's a very natural state to be in if you're thinking right now, but I don't know what I want. I don't know what I really want.
Calm down.
You're in the right place, because the very first step is to acknowledge that you don't want and to make a decision and a commitment to go on a journey to find out.
Yep. When I have children come to me for counseling and they say, we're already finishing school and we don't know what to take up in university, I say, great. That's great, because you have all the options open to you, and let's explore them. You know, at least you haven't kind of confined yourself with one or two choices. Everything is open to you now. So let's look at what works best for you. When I was growing up, my mom wanted me to be a doctor. So it was story of every South Asian home, I guess, either be a doctor or an engineer. So I was the doctor to be. Somehow, you know, when you can't make a decision, fate steps in, and as it happened for your brother, I couldn't get into medical school, though my grades were really high. When there were some financial challenges, and I said, I'll take a break here and focus again on my, entrance exams for medical school. But again, fell ill, couldn't do much, got engaged, got married, and then landed here in UAE with my 9-month-old baby. Zap. And then when the kids were growing up and they were really little, one fine day I'm standing by the sink, this pile of dishes, and I'm saying, there must be more to life than diapers and dishes, And that's where I found out about the Dubai Press Club, the Dubai Ladies Writing Group. And I used to write poetry as a little girl. I'm the only child. I used to share my feelings with pen and paper. So I said, okay, I'm fairly good in language. Let me see what I can do with this writing group. And that's how I started contributing to the local newspaper. Not a journalist, but I've been doing this now for the last 20 years. And from writing came NLP and personal development. And then from there came ICF and life coaching. So it's a journey. It's just about being available to listen to the signs that the universe is giving you, and just being conscious of what makes you happy and drives you. Yeah.
So true.
Yep. So when we look at commitment, what are the different areas that there can be commitment in your understanding?
Well, I think that in every area of your life, whether it be work, health, relationship, whatever it is, you make commitments. Because if you're not committed to yourself, then you won't do the things. You'll probably end up writing it on your to-do list, I'm sure, but it won't be ticked off. It's not what really matters to you. It's not what you want to be doing. There's something else that you need to be tapping into. So for me, it's in every area of your life, there is commitment, and there needs to be commitment. And the most powerful commitment is a commitment to yourself and a commitment to someone else. Like I said at the beginning of our conversation, a public declaration is very powerful, because you shared it with other people, and other people now are going to start asking, when are you going to do that? You said you were going to do that. Well, I haven't seen anything. Can you share an update? So you're more driven and more motivated to do it, because you want to be able to answer, I've taken that step towards implementation, or it's launched. It's I made a public declaration in December at an event that I was one of the speakers at. And one of the other speakers got on stage and shared about podcasting, because he's a podcast expert. And I had an instant thought, I should launch a podcast. And I went to the front of the room, waved because he asked the question, who wants to share their podcast idea? Waved to get the microphone, and I did, fortunately. And I said, I'm going to start the Entrepreneur Sushi Club podcast. And as soon as I said the words, I think, oh my God, what have I just done? Because now almost 100 people have heard me say that I'm going to launch that podcast in the beginning of 2020. Now I have to do it.
Yep. And you did.
And I did.
Right. So, but okay. So you make an announcement, you follow through, and then you have the result.
Yeah.
What if you're not ready for that commitment? What if you're not ready? I'll give you an example. When I was in India in November, right after my dad passed, a friend of mine reached out to me and she said, hey, listen, we're getting together a group of global thought leaders, women, and we're coming up with this book called Breakthrough. And knowing you and knowing your story, I'd really like for you to contribute. And I said, hey, listen, I'm not in the mood to write a chapter on breakthrough. I'm not in the right state of mind. But she insisted. And I'm so glad she did, because from writing that chapter came some healing for me. But maybe I wasn't ready at that point because I kept missing deadlines and I kept hoping she would go away, but she didn't. She was a good friend who knew I needed to do this, you know?
Yeah.
So even a week after the deadline had passed and everyone had done their submissions and everything, she still waited on me. And I found that so humbling, you know, that someone trusts my story so much that I should trust it as well. So I wrote the breakthrough for me in the chapter itself was about the hollow in the heart, how it just is there and how he was my harbor and all of that. And as I wrote, I realized I'm getting goosebumps as I share it, but you know, just sometimes knowing that you need some time to come to that place of accepting a commitment and then moving forward, not forcing it upon yourself, I guess. What are your thoughts on that?
Good question. What I would say is, what does being ready look like? Because honestly, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. And just to share a little story, if you had told me 5 years ago that I would be an author, I would have laughed in your face. And I would have said, I'm a speaker, not an author. Right. I am good with talking. Ask me to talk, ask me to do a speech, ask me to do an interview, ask me to do whatever. Don't ask me to write something down. I just launched book number 4. Do you think I was ready for book number 1 to be published? I had to fight through that narrative of I'm not a writer, I'm not a writer, I'm not a writer. Do you think I was ready? I was so not ready. And I think that one of the things that we use to hold us back is the phrase, I'm not ready. Because honestly, think about it for just 1 minute. When do you know you're ready? What needs to be in place to say, I am ready? And one of the reasons you asked me for this interview is because you saw that post about me submitting a chapter within 7 days. And I wasn't the only one that did that. There were 23 other co-authors that they did the exact same thing. And every one of us, when we heard the deadline on Monday, thought, every one of us had said, yes, we're going to contribute to this book. 1 day later, we heard the deadline is you have to submit it by Sunday. And we all thought, oh my God, that's 7 days. 7 days to write a chapter of 1,500 words. Each and every one of us committed by saying yes. Each and every one of us wanted to do that. But each and every one of us had the same experience and thinking, oh my God, can I do that in 7 days? You think each and every one of us was ready? We were not.
No.
We were absolutely not ready to do that. And we had to fight through that narrative to be able to do it. And I can tell you, there were 2 or 3 that had said yes and backed down after hearing the deadline. So the narrative for them was more powerful than the others who said yes, committed, even though we were hit by that challenge of you need to do it in 7 days, still said, but I said yes. And yes means I'm going to do it. And each and every one of us did it. So I don't believe in the phrase you need to be ready. I think you do it to find out you were ready already, if that makes any sense.
It does, because while I am talking about a chapter that I wasn't really ready to write at that time, but when I put my mind to it, it took me one night actually to bring it all together, because it then flew. There was inflow, the thoughts, the words, and it just came together. So for me, at that point, yes, it didn't take much time. But to come to that point of showing yourself that commitment and knowing that I'm ready for this, I guess that's what I'm talking about. Also, the videos that I do on Facebook, just making that decision that I have to do something to help myself first, and then through it began to help others. If you look at the first video, I'm sitting on the sofa with the camera on the selfie stick, looking like a scared little kitten. And some of them are really awful in the first few, because I've been browsing through the entire content and kind of mind mapping them into different titles. So that could be book number 2. But what I'm saying is, I think just deciding and making sure that you're committed to do this, coming to that point of decision is what I'm talking about. Not about being ready. I think I should have, let me rephrase that question then.
Yeah. Again, we've talked about this before. It's all about, what is my gift? What am I here to do? Do you know that purpose? And if you don't, that is absolutely a natural state to be in. But when you do, when you feel that calling, then the message is bigger and more important than the fear and the doubt.
True.
Then every obstacle is a challenge, because and you're looking forward to tackling that one, because you know that that's another growth moment, instead of a moment that you think, oh God, I can't do that. And I think that is important. I mean, for us, and I interviewed every one of my co-authors yesterday, and I asked them the question, why did you say yes? I mean, this is a crazy adventure to write a book and submit a chapter in 7 days, and 7 days later, so exactly from start to finish, 14 days, launch it. And the majority said, because it is more important to get that message out. And each one of us shared a vulnerable story, just like you shared about the passing of your father. Each and every one of us shared a story that we have never shared in public before, but has been a defining moment in creating where we are today and being that inspiration for others, because that is the message. We want to support 1 million businesses that are struggling right now. They're thinking, oh, my business is gone. I'm overwhelmed with this global pandemic. So that message was bigger than the idea of, I can't do this in 7 days, or I don't know what to write about, or I don't know how to do this. And I think that is important. If you know the message, if you know the purpose, and it's bigger than you, then you will still experience that fear and doubt. And like I said, each and every one of us had, oh boy, I have to do this in 7 days. Can I do this? Each and every one experienced that moment. But they said, no, I've said yes. The message is more important. Or another reason the co-author said yes was, I trust Sammy. I trust the person that asked me to contribute to the chapter. I trust that person, and this is an opportunity to go for it.
Yeah.
But I think that is important. If you know your purpose and you have something that is bigger than you, it won't. There was nothing that will stop you.
I think we kind of hold back because we make it about ourselves sometimes.
Yes.
And it's not about us ever. No. It's always about the message. Absolutely. Super. What about commitment in relationships? That's a strong one, powerful one. What are your thoughts on that?
In what respect? What triggered you to ask me that question?
Generally, when you look at relationships, even when you're looking at business perspective, it's all about relationships, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's not just about the work relationships that I'm probably talking about. I'm also talking about relationships at home, relationship with yourself, being committed to them and being honest within them. That is so important, because when you're running a business, it's not about, okay, I have this customer or this client and that's it. It's one customer creates a domino effect in terms of word of mouth, in terms of marketing, in terms of the kind of legacy or credibility you are creating for yourself.
Yeah.
In terms of content, commitment, even for that matter.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what I would say to that is, if you need to come from an attitude of serving. You want to serve that other. Again, you have a gift, and that gift translates into value in this world, and whether it's in your inner circle of your family or circles outside of that. And if you come at it from a place of serving, giving the best of you in the time that you give them, then every relationship, whether it's a personal, romantic, or business relationship, is in potential one that is going to be thriving. That one, we're going to say someone, oh my God, you just changed my life. And one of the things that I see a lot of happening is people don't make an explicit decision on the time they need to spend. I mean, the time, I can't say about now because we've been in intelligent lockdown for quite some time. But before that, when I was sitting in a restaurant with a friend, for example, the amount of people that are on their phone during dinner, instead of looking at the person and being present with the person, is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I mean, you commit. I do the exact same thing. I'm either working or I am spending time with my family, and especially I consciously and explicitly make this decision to spend time with my nieces. When I am, they get my full attention. They demand it. That's also true. But they get my full attention. They're 3 and 5, but they get it, and that means I do not look at my phone. I do not, even if I do, my 5-year-old niece says, "Do put that phone in your bag. This is my time." So they get me 100%. And I think that whether it's a personal relationship, a romantic relationship, or a business relationship, when you say yes to that person or persons, give them you. Give them your present time. Give them your full focus. Instead of trying, I'll give that client a little bit of that, and I'll give my partner a little bit of that. That is what gets you into trouble, because people don't give me something, even if it is 15 minutes of listening to their story. So that's commitment to me, as in when I decide that we're going to spend time, then that is time with you and me. That is time that I'm fully present. I'm not distracted by anything else. It's you and me. And whether it is one-on-one or one-to-many, it doesn't matter to me.
I love that. So I think this would be my last question.
You never know.
You never know. That's why I said I think. And where this is coming from is, I mean, when you're working and when you're in that space of being that person in charge, and then later on you move on, you come to a space of maybe having more time on hand where you're not working, perhaps you don't shoulder as many responsibilities as you used to. What do you have to say for those people, and how do they, because, okay, I'll tell you where this is coming from. When I got set out on my NLP journey, I had a person come on board, and he was just starting out with basic practitioner. He was 60 plus. And we were really, we found it quite interesting that, somebody of that age and experience chooses to become a student again. And when we asked him, he said, I've been working on my life and I realized I don't know my family. And to the extent that I said, I think I don't, and to know them, I need to first know myself, because all I did all my life was, the 9 to 5. And then even after 5, I'm busy with work and commitments and friends and colleagues and everything else under the sun. So when you have a little more life left and you have, lots that you could do, how do you kind of make sure that you don't make it about yourself? Because obviously the way the family is going to behave with you when you are in that other role is going to be very different. And that sometimes can have its toll.
It can, if you don't share what your journey is. So one of the, especially with people 60 and over, I mean, I know of examples, people that are 80, 90 that still go to university.
Yes.
or someone who unfortunately has passed away, but stayed working until he was 93. So I
Wow.
think that, yeah. And so age isn't a factor. It really isn't. It's about, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? What matters to you? And you can do whatever you commit yourself to. And so I understand that this, what I absolutely admire about the person you're talking about is he acknowledged that he didn't know his family. And not only did he made a decision, a commitment to discover more about himself, so he can make a decision. How do I relate to someone else, whether that is family or someone, and how does that relate to what I can provide or give to the world when I don't have a 9 to 5 anymore?
Right.
And I think that is the most important thing. In whatever phase you are in your life, make a commitment, make a decision. Think about, who am I now? What's my identity when I don't have a 9 to 5? Because that 9 to 5 defined this person day and night. And he needed to redefine himself. And fortunately, that he knew that is what he needed to do. And he made the commitment and took action. And I think a lot of people feel that there is something different, but they're not willing to do the work, or they're afraid to do the work. And whatever it is, also natural state. Don't beat yourself up. Still be loving and compassionate to yourself, because that's how we move forward, instead of making ourselves sick. So yeah, for me, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've seen examples of people doing extraordinary things, whether they're very young or very old or somewhere in the middle. I think it's more about sit. A friend of mine, Keith, would say, sit, ask and listen for the answer. So really be comfortable in tapping into you and reflecting on you and being brutally honest about yourself and what you need to do, and whatever it is. I mean, this man was 60. That means he's got maybe 20 to 30 years left. In 20, 30 years, you can do a lot for your family.
Exactly. For himself.
For himself, for his family. Even if you had, you can compare it to people that are diagnosed with cancer and get to hear that they've only got 3 to 6 months to live. They start really deciding on what matters to me and what do I want to do with that time. So go through life thinking you've got forever to live, and at the same time, you've only got 1 year to live. What would you do differently if you had that mindset, that attitude?
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. As I said, you're always insightful, always impactful. So thank you. Thank you for being
here. My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
The book, I've put in the links for how people can purchase the books in the description. So please, people, proceeds are going to charity. And it's, Lubna, would you like to tell us a little more about it?
Yeah, like I said, this book is from start to finish, 14 days.
Yes.
And that was because we at the SAMI saw that a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners are absolutely struggling. And at the same time, there are entrepreneurs and business owners that are thriving, that are moving forward despite the circumstances. So they said, how can I reach millions with inspiring stories about how of specific activities that will support them? That's the reason why we had to do it fast. I mean, you can't say, I'll spend the next 3, 6, 9 months doing that, because we don't know what the world will look like. People need it now. Yeah. And so she embarked on the journey of, I want to create the Law of Brand Attraction book to support 1 million business. But not only that, because we don't make a penny from this book. All of our proceeds go to Clear Sky Children's Charity. It's a charity in the UK that supports that focuses on the emotional well-being of children and young people with playful arts therapy, parent workshops and trainings. And what they see is that there are a lot of children that are in domestic violence situations that are absolutely struggling with everything that's happening right now. And they really need, because they don't get any funding from the government whatsoever. So they are dependent on donations. They want to be able to help as many children and young people as they can. So all of our proceeds go to them to support them on that mission. So we encourage each and every one to buy the Kindle, or the paperback when it comes online. Pay it forward, share it with your entrepreneur, your friends. You'll do it for two reasons. One, they get the insights, inspiration, and strategies that might support them whilst they're struggling right now. Number two, you will be supporting children's mental well-being and emotional well-being.
So it's a win-win. I mean, how beautiful is that? Amazing project to be part of. Congratulations once again. And if you'd like to share anything as a passing comment, as a conclusion.
Just live life. Don't let the current circumstances or any circumstances in the future deprive you of living your life. And that's one. Number two, seek support. I mean, and I've said it before, and I even believe I said it in the interview that you and I did earlier,
yes,
a couple of weeks ago, is you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Right. So if you're building a business or you're even a professional, choose those 5 people very carefully.
Yeah.
Choose the ones that are gonna dream bigger with you and support you in resources, whether it's other people or strategies or whatever it could be. Just be very mindful of that. And take action, because confidence grows from taking action. It's not the other way around. We do not need confidence first. We need to take action to grow our confidence.
Absolutely. So thank you for your time, and thank you people for watching in. And for those of you watching replay, thank you for joining us. And yes, if you haven't subscribed already, please do turn on notifications, because this is the second episode of very many that will follow. The idea is to bring in thought leaders who are an inspiration to the world, who are walking their talk and making a difference to the place that we are. So thank you again, and look forward to the next interview. Thank you, Lubna, as well.
My pleasure, and have a very happy day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.